Hello, horse racing fans. 2023 was rough for horse racing. There is no denying that. This year just did not go right for anyone. This year was my first where I was seriously involved in the sport, making it both rewarding but also incredibly tough, as I saw the whole picture of horse racing up close. While it is important to acknowledge that we need to do better and strive for improvement, I want to end this year on a hopeful note. No matter how tough things are, there's always some great horse races to remember, and so I thought it was appropriate to bring back something I've missed out on the last 2 years. Talking about my favorite horse races of the year. Before I get into the list, only one race per horse, so for horses who had more than one great performance this year, I'll have to only choose one of their races. And as a quick reminder, this video is 100% my opinion and based on my personal experiences with these races, and it's not objective in any way. If you liked a race more or less than I did, that is totally okay. I'd still love to hear your favorites in the comment section below. Now before the main list, here are some honorable mentions. The Belmont Stakes. Now I totally get why you guys might be a bit surprised not to see this race on the main list. I really did not enjoy this year's Triple Crown and would much rather forget it. And although the Belmont Stakes was without a doubt the best of the three, with a great story, the death of Excursionista, the race afterward, very much soured it for me. And to a way lesser extent, Arcangelo's retirement only a start later was also a bit underwhelming, but not nearly as major. Both of Arcangelo's greatest moments were marred by tragedy and races surrounding it, hindering my full enjoyment of the races themselves. The Manicato Stakes. Being the horse with the most Grade 1 wins this year, Imperatriz definitely deserves a shout out, but I gotta admit, the only race of hers I watched live was the Manicato Stakes, which was a really nice display of pure speed, affirming all I've heard about her. The Hong Kong Vase. This race was a great display of how a track announcer can influence a race. Out of the main 4 Hong Kong races, this was the one I was looking forward to the least and didn't really have a horse to look forward to. Well, until the gates opened.
Longines Vase, they're racing. And Junko missed the start, so he's last. He won't be leading because he got himself on the back foot at the start.
With that introduction, I had a horse to look for, so I followed the normally front-running Junko as he went from last to first. He made me root for a horse I had never even heard of, as I saw him go against his comfort zone and still win. Classy race. And now, let's get to the list. The Melbourne Cup. Going into this year's Melbourne Cup, I wasn't expecting much, as I had always seen the race as one that had lost its mystique, but in a year where not much went right, the Melbourne Cup was smooth sailing. I remember going to get some pasta at an Italian restaurant before I was going to see the race in my dorm, but they had the Melbourne Cup on at the restaurant already, so I stayed for the next hour, constantly getting free refills of lemonade as the race drew closer. Something that I've never really experienced before. Horse racing at a restaurant is a surprisingly fun combination. An oddly specific, but fun memory.
Without a fight, Mark Zara, a Melbourne Cup champion, wins it by 2 lengths.
The U of A RTIP Stakes. Okay, this one is probably cheating. As some of y'all know, I am a racetrack announcer, and my main experience calling races was at my school's local racetrack, Rieto Park, along with some at Turf Paradise. But Rieto gave me my first chance to call a stakes race, as small of a race as it was. And appropriately, it was named after the college program that gave me the opportunity in the first place, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program. It was the culmination of everything I had been practicing in previous calls, and it was named after a program that had changed my life in so many ways. Thank you, RTIP.
I'm a Carpe Diam on the outside, Lily Pad Lake on the inside, but I'm a Carpe Diam bears down by a neck.
The Tokyo Daishōten. The most recent race on this list, Ushba Tesoro, was a horse that I was a bit late on joining the hype train on. I had never heard of the horse until the home stretch of the Dubai World Cup, and when I looked him up, I felt like a total fool for not even looking at him. While he did not win the Breeders' Cup, just seeing him droop his head in his yellow mask was enough for me. So when it was time for the Tokyo Daishōten, I wanted to see him finish strong, but was pretty legitimately worried about Mickfire. But the old horse didn't let anyone down. I stayed up till 1:40 in the morning with my heart racing, hoping to God the finish line wasn't about to show up. But he nailed it, winning the last Japanese Group 1 of the year and giving all of us a classic Ushba Tesoro performance.
Wilson Tesoro, Ushba Tesoro, Ushba Tesoro, 2 in a row.
The Shuka Show. Yep, the Japanese ain't gonna leave the picture for a while. I love me a Triple Crown or Tiara. Any horse who can win a trilogy of races with a variety of challenges is an awesome horse. So I tuned in anxiously for the Shuka Show, wanting to see a Triple Crown be accomplished. So when I saw her sweep to the lead on the outside, it sent shivers down my spine. As she ran home, all I could say was, she's got it. It left me with a type of warm feeling I don't get super often in horse racing. A breathtaking show of talent.
Liberty Island will take out the Grand Tiara from Mars Diva.
The Cox Plate. I could have easily chosen the Hong Kong Cup as well, but nothing quite beats the first time it occurred. Romantic Warrior is a great horse to watch, so when I heard he was going to try his luck in Australia, I was intrigued and wanted to see it work. While he lost the Turnbull Stakes, I still was happy to see him in the Cox Plate. It was a loaded race, and I didn't really know what was going to happen, with champs like Gold Trip, Alligator Blood, and Mr. Brightside. What I got was a total thrill ride. The greatest part about it was while I preferred Romantic Warrior to Mr. Brightside, when they hit the wire together, I really thought Mr. Brightside had won. The shadow in front of the wire made it really hard to tell. Throughout the stretch, I had doubted Romantic Warrior, and each time he kept on proving me wrong, until he finally got his nose down on the wire, in first place. Nothing quite beats a thrilling finish, especially when such a cool and gutsy horse wins it.
Still Alligator Blood. Mr. Brightside coming at it with Romantic Warrior. It's a photo finish.
The Arlington Million. While it will always be a tragedy that Arlington Park is no more, Colonial Downs' Million still proved to be a great substitute. I did my first ever internship at Colonial Downs this year, with my final day being Million Day. With all the friends and memories I had made in the last month, this race served as the send-off. It's not every day a horse race gets you a chance to meet the state's governor. It also helped that the winner, Set Piece, is a horse that I've enjoyed watching for years. After winning an exacta on him in 2021, 2 years later, I get to see him win his first Grade 1 race. What a beautiful and hardworking animal. It was a day full of emotions, and I couldn't have asked for a better finish to my time at Colonial Downs.
Set Piece gonna win Virginia's Maiden Million. Set Piece by 2.
The Hong Kong Mile. Golden 60 is an icon. How can you not love a horse like him? The richest horse to ever race, and he did it all by relentlessly winning. Going into the mile, I was rather worried. I had stayed up to see him win the 2021 mile, but was disappointed in the 22 mile when he lost. Unraced since April, I was concerned that the 8-year-old couldn't do it, but when he broke well, I started to think that there was a chance. Then when he swept past everyone, my heart soared. Just like with Liberty Island, all I could really say was, he's got it. And he did, running arguably his greatest race. I love that horse so much.
That's not a whip, that's a wand. That ride from Vincent is magic. Golden 60.
The Japan Cup. You know he had to be here somewhere, but which race was I going to pick? The Shima Classic was one of the highest quality races of the entire year, the Takarazuka Kinnan where he went last to first, the Tenosho Autumn where he set a world record. There could only be one choice. The Japan Cup was the one race he still had yet to win. It was the appropriate end to a great career. Even though I had a flight at 5 a.m., I stayed up till 1:40 to see the champion race one more time, even if I didn't know it was going to be his last. With Pantalaza as his hype man, I got everything I needed. Well, except sleep, but that was a worthy sacrifice. Equinox was a horse I could always count on. I'm grateful I got to follow the career of a legend.
A champion horse up to the line. Equinox wins it from Liberty Island in second.
The Secretariat Stakes. Colonial's Arlington Day returns. You'd think that the Million would be the best race of the day, but you'd be wrong. This year was the 50th anniversary of Secretariat's Triple Crown, so the fact the Secretariat Stakes was for the first time ever going to be run in his birth state of Virginia was amazing. The Secretariat statue greeted guests, and for the Call of Riders up, it was none other than Penny Chenery's daughter, Kate Tweedy. Because I helped carry the trophy, I got to watch the race with her and introduce myself. She was absolutely amazing to talk to, and right before the race began, we picked who was going to win. She picked Silverknot, and I picked the longest shot on the board, Gigante, for the sole reason that he was the only Virginia bred in the race. I had no good reason to choose him. The only time I had seen him race, he lost. So it was a complete shot in the dark. But as the race progressed, he only got stronger, until he finally won. It's why horse racing is so great. You never know when the long shot will spring an upset. After that win, everyone else told Kate about how he was a Virginia bred. And all she could tell them was, I know. It was totally surreal. A Virginia bred winning the race named after the greatest Virginia bred in Virginia on his 50th anniversary? It's perfect!
Gigante still there. Gigante held on.
The Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Do I really need to explain this one? Cody's Wish was a beacon of hope throughout this crazy year. Whenever horse racing knocked me down, Cody's Wish would always bring me back up. But throughout my time screaming at the television when he raced, I had never actually seen the horse in person. That was until the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. I had the incredible privilege of volunteering at this year's Breeders' Cup, meaning I got to see many of the best racehorses this year with my own 2 eyes. But nothing could compare to the first Breeders' Cup race of Day 2. Actually seeing him walking so proudly with that giant diamond on his head was surreal. Then of course came the actual race. I've never been more emotional when seeing a horse race. Of course I wasn't immediately dissuaded when he trailed, as that was his style. Then came the duel between him and National Treasure. By the final furlong, I lost the ability to speak, and all I could do was scream. I wasn't on the finish line, so I could not really tell who won, but with the photo finish and the following steward's inquiry, I was never on more pins and needles. But when it was finally over, it was pure euphoria, knowing that Cody won one final time for Cody Dorman, and was going to retire a winner. Just one story had gone right. Although the human Cody did sadly pass away soon after, it brings me solace knowing that someone the doctor said was only going to live for 2 years, lived to be nearly 18, and saw his horse go out a winner while taking us all along with him. It's something that only horse racing could do, and I'll always be grateful I got to see this race with my own 2 eyes. Thank you, Cody Dorman. You will be dearly missed. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's been a pleasure making videos for you all, and I've never felt prouder of the content I've been making, and I'm excited to show you guys my future projects. So until next time, I wish you all a happy new year.